Well, folks, here again for the weekly forecast. And during this last week, we dealt with a couple precipitation events of significant magnitude. One was last weekend, and then, of course, the other one was Wednesday, as we had systems moving from a northwest to southeast flow, impacting more of western Nebraska, particularly north central up through west central Nebraska. Was the biggest winner in terms of total precipitation for the period. Wednesday night was the biggest widespread heavy precipitation event for northern Nebraska, where we've seen 1 inch plus totals from portions of the eastern panhandle through north central Nebraska. But unfortunately, as these systems moved toward the south, we did see them dissipate such that we got to the I-80 corridor. Hardly any, if at all, precipitation was reported, and that leads us to an increase in the drought monitor this week in terms of the abnormally dry conditions over south central southeast Nebraska, and moderate drought conditions now expanded across a good portion of south central into central Nebraska, and also including the western half of the panhandle north of essentially Scotts Bluff, where moderate drought conditions have been introduced. So we could use a couple good rainfalls. Now, in terms of the outlook, CPC is indicating that we may have some relief in store. If we are to believe them, we will see the warm temperatures stay to our south for the month of August, where we will be fairly close to equal chances of normal, above normal, or below normal temperatures. And this is a reflection of the troughing pattern that's been pretty persistent across the Great Lakes region, bringing us in these shots of cool air that beats down the ridge. Now, as we go into precipitation, a very aggressive precipitation pattern from the northwest to the southeast. The best chances for above normal moisture, of course, situated across the Dakotas. I don't know if CPC is correct in bringing this precipitation all the way southward through eastern Kansas. It would be nice if this does verify, would alleviate many of the problems we've had with short-term dryness issues, but I think they may be a little bit over-aggressive. Time will tell. In terms of the fall forecast, August through October, we're looking at above normal temperatures nationwide with the best chances across the central and southern Rockies. In terms of precipitation, once again, the Dakotas are highlighted with above normal precipitation, but I think most of this within this forecast period is associated with the month of August. Now, as we look at the current conditions today, what we are noticing is that we have a trough move that's moving across the Central Plains and is starting to strengthen as it gets into the Great Lakes region. Therefore, we're starting to see some precipitation chances increase today across north central northeast Nebraska, lesser chances across east central and southeast Nebraska until we get later tonight into tomorrow morning, where we see this energy still residing across east central southeast Nebraska, giving us a chance for some shower activity, but nothing major in terms of high quality precipitation. To our west, the ridge starts to build in, drier conditions start to move in earnest as we get into Monday, and the ridge pattern starts to develop across central Kansas, and that will dominate the remainder of the week with warm temperatures to well above normal temperatures. So we'll be looking at 90s statewide. And as we go into Tuesday, potentially mid to upper 90s with an isolated 100-degree reading not out of the question across south central southeast during portions of the state. And as we get into Wednesday, we see that a little bit of energy makes it over the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains, so there could be some thunderstorm development in western Nebraska. And as we get into Thursday, we still see the drying pattern associated with this ridge, but the ridge starts to show signs of breaking down as the trough moves toward the Great Lakes and starts to push the heat to our south. So by the time we get to Friday, we start to see this trough digging farther deeper, and for next weekend that means a much cooler conditions moving in with an increasing chance for precipitation.